In IELTS Writing Task 1, you are almost always asked to make comparisons where relevant. So do you have a system for making comparisons when you're asked to summarize the information in charts and tables? People tend to use grammatically positive comparisons more often than they use grammatically negative comparisons. But it's much better if you show the examiner that you can use both. So I'm going to play a clip from an early video in which I explain how I would make grammatically negative comparisons when summarizing the information in a chart or table in IELTS Writing Task 1. Then I'll tell you how you can practice them when you're speaking or texting, so you can improve quickly and make them automatic. Not everything you see on the board is correct at the start, so see if you can correct anything that is incorrect before I do. Negative comparisons, or grammatically negative comparisons, which use the word not. Same values, apples are 1, orange is 2, bananas 3. The negative comparative is formed with not as, as. So apples are not as expensive as bananas, bananas are not as cheap as apples. And in terms of the adjective, cheap doesn't become cheaper, expensive doesn't become more expensive. You just use the basic adjective. So cheap or expensive, you don't need to worry about whether it's more cheap or cheaper, whether it's expensiver or more expensive. So if you're not sure, the comparative, the negative comparative is actually a good option and can avoid you making a mistake. The slight disadvantage of using a negative comparative is that you can't talk about how big or small the difference is. All you can do is say that there is a difference. So don't try and do too much with a negative comparative. If you need to go into more detail, you can do that in another sentence. And the two most common mistakes that people make with this is that they try and talk about how big the difference is. Don't do that. You can't use significantly, considerably, or much with the not as comparative. There are ways to talk about how big big differences and small differences using a negative comparative, but they tend to be informal. And if you're doing formal writing, just don't try and do it. The other issue that people have is that instead of using as, so not as, as, they love to put words like or than or that. Don't use like or than or that. It's not as, as. That's negative comparatives. The way in which you can practice making grammatically negative comparisons is very simple, but very effective. Whenever you're speaking or sending an email in English and you make a grammatically positive comparison, stop for a few seconds and reformulate it as a grammatically negative comparison. You'll probably be surprised how often you make comparisons and you don't want to sound repetitive. That's why the IELTS examiners want you to show them that you can make comparisons in a variety of ways.